the most beautiful farewell I have witnessed. It was many years ago. Living in the same city was like torture because I had to take a break a year off from my school. The person I was in love with platonically was in the upper grade, and I wasn't even in school. The city I was born in has never been so suffocating. I was sewing the world so black that I was thinking the sun hadn't risen for years. Those were the worst days of my teenage years. After experiencing the last few hot months of the Asian Gulf, I decided to go to my grandmother who lives in Balıkesir. She was the only person among my grandparents to whom I secretly prayed to God, crying at the age of 2 or 3 so that she wouldn't die. There was a very special bond between us. Among all 3 generations of grandchildren, whose number reached almost 45 in the following years, I was the first grandchild and using the name of her little girl who died when she was a baby. Also, our zodiac signs were the same. Our leadership and strengths were very similar. Winter had begun to show itself more and more, and also my new life began to erase the traces of the old. In a small and cute village house, I was bringing into my life all the knowledge I could learn and experiencing the survivor part of life, but I wasn't complaining. These were the first years that I was able to discover many of my skills and courage. But time was so fast. This tale, which I linked to Hades' life with his grandfather in the Swiss Alps, had come to an end, and I had to return to Izmir. My mother had come to pick me up, and we had to return in a few days. Outside, I was witnessing the first heavy snow of my life as a native of Izmir. The snow had warmed the air and crystallized everything visible on the surface. The fascinating sparkles and light beams had reminded me of the fairy tale postcards of my childhood. Finally, we had arrived at the intercity bus station and taken our tickets, sat down in our seats. I had chosen the window seat, as usual. While I was reviewing the best last 3 months of my life with blank eyes, the fair white skin of an extraordinary couple, just 20 meters away from the bus we were on, had caught my attention. They both had a very eye-catching appeal. They were tall like models, and the light of their faces could be seen from far away. But what made them so eye-catching was more than that. The attractive girl with her long blonde hair hugged her lover's neck tightly and was probably shedding tears inwardly. The handsome young man, on the other hand, was holding one of his hands tightly around his beloved's waist, lifting up one of his hands from time to time to wipe away these tears, and probably whispering something soothing into the girl's ear. They cried there together for minutes. They didn't even care about the hundreds of crowds around them. They had seen and looked in each other. It was so obvious that this bond between them consisted of much deeper emotions rather than shallow impulses. Something was going on there that even a poor person who had never experienced love could understand even by looking at it. The time had come, and the ignition of our bus was started by the driver. Almost all of the passengers was seeming to have taken their seats and were ready to go. There were 5 or 10 other buses around us that would leave at the same time, so after saying goodbye, it was not clear which bus one of these young people would get on. However, their hands which didn't want to be severed even if they were forced, began to separate slowly. And they started to walk towards the vehicle from where they were. The fact that the handsome young man would get into the vehicle we were in, among all the buses, and sit behind my seat, it made the incident more remarkable. I had been watching them with emotion for the last half hour, and now everything was happening even more before my eyes. The young man, who reluctantly settled into his seat, was seeming to be glued to the window. He was standing and whispering something non-stop. The attractive girl outside was clinging to the bus with her hands, not wanting to break away, turn around, or leave the place. But unfortunately, the bus was started and set off. Unbelievable, but the girl who ran with the bus as much as she could along the road was not given up and not turned back. Perhaps for this reason, the driver, who noticed the situation like all the passengers, was not accelerating and ignoring the traffic rules. These two lawyers, who cannot be separated from each other, finally had started to cry loudly inside and outside. I had witnessing how a firewall crushes a pair of hearts at the age of only 15, without forgetting it for 43 years. This incident had been in Lens. I said that we'll never marry a Balıkesirlian. However, in a world where fate tested us with what we said never, I had married a handsome man from Balıkesir. And when I left, I couldn't experience even the slightest part of saying goodbye as meaningful as these young people. The last words, the last wishes, the last prayers, and the last closing were always left in the air. It didn't happen. Even if I wanted to, it couldn't happen. As someone who believes that even a tiny moment we live in isn't a coincidence, I have not yet been able to understand why I came across this view, why I was so impressed by it, and why I couldn't say such a meaningful and sublime farewell to the people of the same city after years. But the only thing I know is that at the moment of separation, what a relationship is like. The only thing that determines whether it is as valuable or not is the elegance at the end rather than the beginning.